I don't know that you can look at what happened Tuesday night and say with any sincerity that Colorado is the same state that it was 10 years ago. To say Colorado is the same state that it was 20 years ago. We have traditionally been an independent state, libertarian perhaps, in the views held by both Republicans and Democrats. I do think that that's changed. You cannot, I don't think that you can make the argument that Colorado is a purple state anymore. I think it is, based upon the progression of events over the last several election cycles, we have ticked a shade of light blue. Now that doesn't mean that Republicans can't be competitive in this state anymore. It doesn't mean that conservatives will not have a voice in the policies constructed to lead our state. It does mean that we need to recognize that this is a fundamentally different place than the one in which, for those of us who grew up here, the state that we grew up in, for those of you who came here, the state that you moved to. It is a fundamentally different place. When we elected Democratic governors, they were conservative Democratic governors. Even going back to Dick Lamb, for those of you who can remember back that far. I can't, I'm too young. No, not really. For the first time in our history, we have a liberal governor supported by a liberal state house majority, supported by a liberal state senate majority. And that is going to present challenges across the board. The legislation that they pass cannot be undone quickly, if undone at all. I was talking with a colleague of mine. We went down to the Springs today, had some meetings down there. We were talking on the way down there. And we talked about the last time the Democrats controlled the state house, the state senate, and the governor's mansion, and what they did to attack our Second Amendment rights. And he said, well, yeah, but they paid the price for that. And I said, did they? They have the House, the Senate, and the governorship, and here we are only 4 short years removed from those recall elections that many of you will remember. I think the challenges that we have as conservatives, as independents, as libertarians, is to carry our point forward and to be active, to be activists in the best description of that word. When you look at the vote totals that came out on Tuesday night, yes, Democrats showed up. Republicans did too. The difference between Republican ballots cast and Democratic ballots cast doesn't account for the margins by which Republican candidates lost. We fared poorly with unaffiliated voters, and we fared poorly with suburban women. Arapahoe County was a virtual wipeout all the way down the ballot. Now, there are some who look to cast blame, party leaders, state party leadership, legislative leadership. Folks, I don't think there's any room for that. Some blame President Trump. I don't think there's any room for that. In fact, President Trump really fared better than most modern-day presidents in their first midterm election. The U.S. House, he lost seats, but it wasn't what President Obama lost in 2010. In fact, President Trump picked up seats in the U.S. Senate, nearing historic margins, as I was told here earlier tonight. That was you, right, Barbara? Yeah. Folks, there's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot to be thankful for. I am grateful for President Trump and what he has done to nominate quality jurists to the bench. I am grateful for the Senate Majority Leader, who has done a remarkable job of moving those nominees through. And if it means that we have to suffer a few electoral losses in the process, then so be it. But we don't have to sit back and take it. And I think that's the message going forward. Our state is fundamentally different. We need to recognize that and accept it. And we need to tailor our work, our activism, to addressing this state that has changed, but one that also welcomes individualism and personal responsibility.